Hello, welcome to my channel. You might be hearing a lot of buzz about Modi's Startup India Action Plan, but at the same time you might be having number of doubts regarding this Startup India Action Plan. So in this video I am going to tell you what are the conditions for a company to be eligible for this Startup India Action Plan. At the same time I am going to teach you what are the benefits you can avail by being a part of Startup India Action Plan. So let's go further into this video. So Modi's government has launched Startup India Action Plan. So you are having a number of questions like below. What are the conditions for a company to be called as a startup, and which companies are eligible for a Startup India Action Plan, and what are the benefits of being a part in this Startup India Action Plan. So coming to the conditions to be called as a startup under this scheme, there are several conditions. The first condition is for a company to be recognized as a startup, it must be an entity registered or incorporated as a private limited company or a registered partnership company or a limited liability partnership company. So you must register your company under one of these three categories, like a private company or a partnership company or a LLP company. So registration is the first condition to be called as a startup under this scheme. And coming to the condition number 2, the age of the company should be less than 5 years. That means from your registration date, from your establishment date, you should not exceed 5 years by now. So this is the second condition for a company to be called as a startup. So all these conditions must be satisfied if your company wants to be considered as a startup. Moving on to the condition number 3, for a company to be recognized as a startup, the annual turnover in the last financial year should not be more than 25 crores as per the Companies Act established in 2013 year. That means the present year is 2016. So your 2014 to 15 financial year's turnover should not be more than 25 crores. So this is the condition number 3. Coming to the condition number 4, for a company to be recognized as a startup, it must be working towards innovation, development, deployment or commercialization of new products or processes or services driven by technology or intellectual property. This is the condition number 4, so which is very important. So your company must be working towards an innovative product. You should be trying to develop a new product, or you should be trying to offer a new product. So if your company is not falling under these heads, so there is a problem for you. Next condition is, if your company wants to be recognized as a startup, you should aim to commercialize a new product which is developed using the research and development operations, or you should aim to commercialize an existing product after improving it in a great fashion. That means your company cannot be called as a startup if it is working on already existing model. Suppose if you are trying to establish an e-commerce startup like Flipkart or Snapdeal, and if you want to be called as a startup under this scheme, it is difficult. So your company should be working on an innovative product, or you should be improving already existing products or services in a great manner to be considered under this scheme. So these are the 5 main conditions for a company to be called as a startup under this scheme. And moving on to the next condition, the startup should obtain certification from Inter-Ministerial Board set up by the DIPP to validate the innovative nature of the business. So if you say that your company is working on an innovative product, or you are working on some innovative or super improved services, you should get a certification from the Inter-Ministerial Board set up by the DIPP. So here are several conditions. One of those conditions must be satisfied now for your company to be called as an innovative company. First one is, it should be supported by a recommendation in a format specified by DIPP from an incubator established in postgraduate college in India. So your company should satisfy this thing, or else your company should be supported by an incubator which is funded from Government of India as a part of any specified scheme to promote innovation. So if Government of India has established any schemes to promote the innovation or innovation based companies, and as a part of that scheme your company should be established, then also it is fine, your company can be called as a startup. Or else it should be supported by a recommendation in a format specified by DIPP from an incubator recognized by Government of India. So it should be recommended by an incubator recognized by Government of India in the format specified by DIPP. So first point, second point and third points. One of these 3 points should be satisfied, or it should be funded by an incubation fund or angel fund or private equity fund or accelerator or angel network registered with SEBI that endorses the innovative nature of business. So your company should be funded by one of these things like angel fund or private equity fund, accelerator or angel network which is registered by SEBI, or else it should be funded by the Government of India as a part of any specified scheme to promote innovation, or it should have a patent granted by the Indian Patent and Trademark Offices in areas affiliated with the nature of business being promoted. So your company should have a patent granted by the Indian patents, and also it should have a trademark areas to be called as a startup. So here is a flowchart which gives a clear idea of who are called as a startup under this Modi's Startup India Action Plan. So as I told you, so first condition is your company should be registered as a private limited company or an LLP or a partnership firm. So if this condition is satisfied, the next condition is the age of company should be less than 5 years. After that, the third condition is the turnover should not exceed 25 years in your last financial year. So if your company is satisfying these 3 conditions, then the fourth condition is you should work on an innovative product, or it should add value to the already existing services. So if these 4 conditions are met, then the fifth condition is the company should have an approval from DIPP to be called as an innovative company. So if this fifth condition is satisfied, then it is absolutely fine, your company can be called as a startup. So approval can be obtained using one of these ways, one of these 5 ways, that is either by the recommendation letter by an incubator in a PG college, or recommendation letter by incubator funded by ZOI, or recommendation letter by an incubator recognized by ZOI, or you should obtain some fund from one of these people like angel fund, angel network, etc. And also it should get a patent. So it should satisfy A, B, C, D conditions and E conditions. So the company should satisfy A, B, C, D and E conditions, and F1, F2, F3, F4 and F. Among these 5 conditions, one is enough. So A, B, C, D, E and one of these F1, F2, F3 and F4. So if your company is meeting these conditions, it can be called as a startup under Modi's Startup India Action Plan. So by being a part of Modi's Startup India Action Plan, your company can avail tax benefits and several other benefits are there, so which I will discuss in my next coming videos series. So in the next video you are going to learn which companies are not considered as a startup. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned.